T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff. Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, sir, boys. Yes, lively and unrehearsed. You're tuned into another wonderful adventure called Sports and Other Stuff. Nice to see you, boys. Hey, this just in. Say, T-Dog, what time should you go to the dentist?
I don't know. What time?
When it's tooth 30. Tooth 30.
All right, I got to look at my day planner to see where that actually falls in terms of the concept of time.
On this episode, we'll predict the NFC South, and you know we'll be right about that. But first, the shot heard around the world or around college football anyway. The Big 12 and Big 10 ravaged the Pac-12. Where's this all going? It's all about big money. Lugs, going to check in with you. What do you say about this mega conference stuff?
Well, I mean, you just said it. It's about the Benjamins. Nobody cares about any of that tradition stuff. And, I mean, we watched in real time the Pac-12 go from a league that I didn't have a whole lot of respect for to be essentially non-existent. So, I mean, the SEC, I can see the SEC and the Big Ten having 28, 32 teams. I mean, the money's there, right? Isn't it? And plus, when you factor in betting, and they're going to make far more from betting than they ever would from TV viewership. So I understand it. It's money. I will only say the ACC. Whoever negotiated that contract.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean.
What's that go till, 2035 or 36?
36.
Wow.
They signed it in 2016. It was a 20-year deal.
So, T-Dog, what happens to the Rose Bowl? I mean, you know, back in the day it was Michigan, USC, or Oregon, you know, somebody, Ohio State. That was always the granddaddy of them all, and it was always fun as a kid to watch that. Now that's all like, Lugs, you just said it. There is no tradition anymore.
Well, fortunately, unfortunately, it's already been kind of a victim of I guess the college playoffs. It had essentially become a semifinals. I think sometimes it gets rotated into being the finals.
True.
So like it had already been kind of plucked from Big 10 versus Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever Pac number you want to put
8, 9, 10, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's I just think a lot of this deal fell by the wayside because I mean just to say it off the top, kind of to follow what Lug said about whoever negotiated for the ACC's ESPN deal. Pac-12, their last two commissioners were just so poor, and it really broke on, last year they lost USC and they lost UCLA. And this one, essentially, they were going over the possible media deal with Apple. It would have been a 5-year deal. Each team would have got $23 million, but it could reach $50 million if the subscriptions hit $5 million. There was almost no way it was going to hit $5 million. Like 5 million people just paying, I don't know, $10 to $12 a year for Pac-12. When you look at the other big major conferences, the Big Ten in 2024, their new media deal starts in. Each team will get roughly $70 million per year. SEC's falls in line with that too, which starts in 2024. The Big 12 deal, I believe it starts this year, and each team will get roughly around $44 million. In the ACC's, the one they signed in 2016, roughly teams will get 35 to 38 million. So that base is 23. It's so much lower. You know, it's essentially a third of the SEC and Big Ten. That's why Washington and Oregon were like, well, screw this. I mean, you know, and they bounced out, and that's what it really came down to for everyone involved. Obviously, it just came down to money, and you know, and that also set up the ripple effect of Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah joining the Big 12.
Right.
Again, the SEC and ACC got it right. Don't put a number in your name, at least. But I honestly want the Big Ten just to get to because in 2024, Big Ten will have 18 teams, SEC will have 16, and Big 12 will get up to 16. I just wanted the Big Ten to get to 20 so they can go by Big Ten double stuffed.
Oh, I love that, man! Like Oreo, like an Oreo.
They could be sponsored by Oreo. That could be their big sponsor.
Big Ten 2X.
And everyone's brought up the one of the big elephants of the room is Notre Dame.
Yeah,
their deal, they roughly get $33 million per year, 22 from NBC, 11 from ACC, since every sport except for football essentially is in the ACC. That deal expires in 2024. Supposedly they want around 65 to 7 million by themselves. I don't see that happening. I'm not saying that. I mean, we saw the crazy deal that Amazon was willing to do for Thursday Night Football, $1 billion a year. I'm not saying it's out of the range, but would you all agree? Like, just that, let's say they got all the games home and away, because NBC's deal is just for home games.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way possible they're getting 65 to 70 million. Would you all agree with that?
No.
I would have to disagree, my brother.
You think they will?
I do. I honestly do. Just because I think, hell, man, I don't know what their buyout is with the ACC, grant of rights, how any of that works. But Notre Dame is such a brand that I think Big Ten would want them like that, because you'll get all of those, I mean, crazy matchups where the eyeballs are going to be off the charts. Now, they're going to have some, issues when Indiana plays Northwestern, if Northwestern is allowed to play football. But I think as far as Notre Dame, man, they are just so strong in the psyche, especially on the football side of the ball. And we haven't even gotten into the actual basketball side. I mean, the Big 12, the national champion will come from the Big 12 for the next 5 years. And especially if they get Gonzaga. Oh, look at the teams
you
in
think
the Big 12, Big 12 basketball. It's just nuts, man. So, but to go back to your question about Notre Dame, I think they'll get the money. I honestly do.
But as a standalone, not getting merged into a like Big 12 or ACC or SEC or Big 10, you think they can get that money standalone?
I do.
Okay.
This has been a big dream to get Notre Dame in the Big Ten for decades. Regular games against Michigan State and Michigan and Purdue and Northwestern, and they're all right around the corner from each other. I mean, it's a car ride. It's like 4 hours apart. I don't think this is going to sway it. Maybe it will. Maybe this is finally the tipping point. Notre Dame says, crap, we got to get in on this too.
Well, the thing that at least gives the two teams that should be in the front if Notre Dame was to join somewhere. Obviously, they already have a pre-existing partnership to some degree with the ACC. And obviously, they have a lot of schools that fall in line with the kind of scholastic prestige that Notre Dame probably likes to be affiliated with UNC and Virginia and whatnot, and Duke. Then with the Big Ten, obviously because of proximity, but also remember NBC, their primetime game is going to be Big Ten, I believe, in 2024. Notre Dame, I think, has still 1 year left of, usually their games are midday or early.
Day games, right.
So, but again, there'll be an NBC person who's maybe going to be trying to broker a deal to maybe have Notre Dame merge in, since they already have a working relationship with Big Ten for multiple years going forward. So I would say those. Yeah.
Here's the crazy thing. Okay, let's say we all play on Rutgers baseball team, and we've got a game in Washington on a Saturday. That's a 5-hour flight, right, to Seattle? I mean, how's this going to work? Do they even care? They don't care. They just want football. It's got nothing to do with any other sport, and they don't care. But my point is that if you're a school, and let's say, I mean, we got to say that Oregon certainly doesn't have the budget that who's massive, like Michigan does, right? I doubt it. Athletic budget. So now they got to spend Ohio State. Now they got to spend all this money flying, these Olympic teams or baseball and non-revenue sports around the country to play all these Big Ten opponents. Maybe we'll find a split East-West or something. But still, you're crossing, 3 time zones and a 5-hour flight to get from coast to coast, give or take, Seattle to New Jersey. That's probably maxed out there.
But that'll all be sponsored. The Notre Dame airline or the Ohio State airline. It'll all be. It's not. They're not going to lose any money.
Start wearing patches on their uniforms, like flying.
Can I spin it another way?
Yeah.
Why can't a lot of schools work like as a anti or mirror version of Notre Dame, where obviously the big money schools, they go under a banner, and then all the other smaller ones, they should still get a piece of the money because they're part of the school. But in terms of saving, what you said, airfare and gas, they still operate like, roughly all the teams of the Big Ten just play teams that were the traditional Big Ten. All the teams that were traditionally the Pac-12 play the Pac-12. So again, it saves money and whatnot. They would act independently, or they could go under another banner that it doesn't feel like it's completely crazy to be able to operate different tiers or different organizations on these sports. They don't have to be under that same umbrella, I don't think.
Well, and some schools do have different conferences for different sports, not necessarily these size schools, but your mid-majors certainly do, and schools that are a notch below the Big Ten schools do.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there can be a workaround because, they want the money, but at least for what we're saying, like the logistical problems, and also, I mean, some of these schools don't make a lot of money from their football, even with the deal, particularly if you're looking at how the ACC with their deal going through 36. I mean, and we haven't even talked about it, and we don't have to, but it's so bad that, Florida State said in a meeting, essentially, they're trying to look for a way out. They're looking for equity,
totally.
From JP Morgan, allegedly to, broker to get out of it. And I think that would be the domino effect, because I think one of the caveats of this deal was as long as it stays in, as long as the representatives stay in place, no one can finagle or move. If one person moves out, then it could be a floodgate of other teams getting out.
Oh, Clemson would be gone immediately.
Well, that's my next question. I wanted to throw this out, and we can wrap this up. But, Lugs, the ACC needs to bolt the covered door shut, man. I mean, the hen house needs to be closed up. The Foxes are coming, and Florida State and Clemson, the minute they get a chance, they're out, and it'll be unravel, come apart, see ya.
Yeah, and they're not really doing themselves any favors. I mean, they were talking about putting SMU. Well, SMU's not been relevant since they were blackballed, 40 years ago?
80s, wasn't it?
And even if they add Stanford, it just doesn't change much, because Stanford hadn't been relevant since Andrew Luck played there.
Stanford, Cal, right? Exactly. Yep.
The only thing you could get would be the Cardinal playing the Cardinals.
I like that. I kind of like that.
If you want to stretch some sort of marketing.
And you know what the cheer could be? We've got the S. We've got the S, because it's Cardinal versus Cardinals. Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's crazy to me. I'm kind of sad in a way, because I'm going to miss some of that, rivalry / tradition of certain things. But I don't know.
You've still got, you're going to have Ohio State, Michigan, no matter what. Yeah, you still got some of that. It just is in a different form. Now you could get USC, Michigan, regular. You've still got some stuff.
And also because – oh, you go.
I was just going to say, and the thing is, these teams that are coming into the Big 12 and the Big 10 don't get that full payout. They
True.
get
It's a partial
level of play out, and then they get like $1 million a year for 4 years added on or something. I looked at it briefly. So, but they're still getting more money than the ACC, no matter what. So that kind of closes that door.
I will say this. Go ahead.
Oh, you go. No, you go, J-Boy.
Well, I was just going to say, okay, so here's the other thing that happens that nobody's talking about. Minnesota, Iowa, Washington, Northwestern, Purdue, no shot of winning anything ever again. Because USC, Ohio State, UCLA, all these new schools, Oregon, are going to be top tier. Everybody else is going to fall in line, and there's no chance they'll ever go to a bowl game, have a winning season. They're going to get killed. I don't understand that part. Half the conference will stink.
You caught on to it. It's like the English Premier League in soccer.
There's got to play your way up.
3 tiers. You got the bottom, the middle, and the top, and the twain shall never meet because they just don't have the resources.
I mean, Indiana, no chance, right? Never. Purdue, no chance, never.
Whoa!
But Indiana still gets its money.
Well, good point.
Yeah, they still get their money. That's what they care about.
But going 2-9, sure, I'll take the money.
They've done that for years. What are you talking about?
With 20,000 people in the stands? Come on.
Yeah.
But the way it's going to work out, since television now controls the scheduling of the games completely. True. They're going to, that Indiana game against whoever, Northwestern.
Right.
That's going to be at 8 a.m. on a Friday. You know what I mean?
Well, it's going to be on Netflix. Wait for that shoe to drop. That's going to be on Netflix.
They're going to bury that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I guess going back a little bit, the one thing I was going to say is because realignments have happened so much, J-Boy, actually some old rivalries will be renewed because they got remerged back with the teams.
That's
the
true.
SEC, Texas A&M will have to play Texas again.
Good point. You're right.
The Big 12, not that I think they still schedule each other, but Utah, BYU, the Holy War, it'll be back on again. So,
Colorado will be back in that mix too.
That's true. So, the gift that realignment, the bane of realignment will then also become a boon of realignment.
Yeah, but then there's going to be that conference rivalry, and let's come to my house and watch this one: Cincinnati versus BYU. That conference thriller. That's going to be a good game. I mean, come on, it's crazy.
Well, all I can say is the luckiest guy around is Deion Sanders. Right? He moves from an HBC school, gets the big payday at Colorado, then they get even a bigger payday by moving. Hey, I hope it works out for him. He was having foot and mouth surgery or something.
Oh, he's got some horrible problems with his leg and circulation, and he's already lost some toes, and there's more trouble. He's had a lot of surgery, so you're right. He's struggling, but you're right. It's a good move for them. Colorado maybe comes out singing like a rose. Yeah,
they haven't been relevant since, what was that blonde-haired coach, Rick somebody, Neuheisel?
I think you got it.
It's he ended up being a commentator on one of the networks.
The Neuheisel network. That'll be carrying some of these the Pac-10. All right, let's put that one to bed. That was a good discussion about the Pac whatever and the big whatever and the rest of the place. All right, let's talk about some NFL football. We're just weeks away from the kickoff of the 2023 season. And this episode, this week, we're going to profile the NFC South. Yes, sir. Last year it stacked up like this. Nobody wanted to win this division, really. The Buccaneers were 8-9, the Panthers 7-10, Saints 7-10, and like a broken record, the Falcons were 7-10. Lugs, I don't think anybody wanted to win this last season. What do you think will be different this year, and who do you like coming in there to take the cellar dweller spot?
Well, I would like to hope for them, but I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They fell apart. It's kind of like the Rams. You win the Super Bowl, and the bottom falls out. And that's essentially what happened to them. At this point, Baker Mayfield may be the quarterback, but Kyle Trask is apparently having himself a good camp. They've lost just everybody on defense. So I don't hold out much hope for those boys. I'll give them 5-12. I'm going to give them 5-12 because they play other guys in the conference.
You're being generous there, aren't you? Wow. Okay, T-Dog.
Probably.
How do you like that fourth slot in the South?
Well, last year Lugs had the Bucks going 12-5. I had them going 14-3, and like you said, they went 8-9.
Yeah, love it.
And man, at the end of the season, I think they're gonna dream of 8-9. Like they're gonna dream of it because this team has a lot of talent on defense. I mean, they still have a lot of talents in big parts of it. Linebacker, secondary, I think especially, and even defensive line, even though some of those guys are new or they're just going to have to get used to each other. But I just look at their offense. Outside of their wide receivers, particularly Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, it's that team's a whole mess. Their O-line, they have two really good players, but Ryan Jensen was out for most of last year. He came back at the very end, so hopefully he can, recover and he'll be okay at center. And Tristan Wirfs has been a great right tackle, but he's now moving to the left tackle, and sometimes that does not work. Even though he worked out on the right side, doesn't mean he'll necessarily work on the left side. And regardless, they're going to have two new guards that they'll be starting, and the hiring of their OC, Dave Canellis, he's a complete unknown. He has multiple years' experience as like a wide receiver coach, quarterbacks coach with Seahawks. But again, like I said, it's a new guy that has never been a coordinator. And like I said, the strength of this team is secondary, Carlton Davis and Jamal Dean. I mean, they're one of the better tandems at corner, I think. Maybe not in the top 5 or whatever, but I think they're at least in the top 10. And then, Antonio Winfield Jr. is a versatile playmaker on the back end, but their main weakness, I mean, Lowe's kind of hinted at it. Quarterback, I don't want to pile on Baker, but because he showed he could play in 18 and 20, but I mean, his career is rapidly slipping away. Like Luggs said, Kyle Trask sounds like, at least this last week or so, like it sounds like he's in the lead. And when the depth chart came out, they were co-starters at the quarterback position. So, and I've never been high on Kyle Trask. I'm not saying I was wrong because I've eaten crow a lot over the last few years doing these predictions, but I just don't see Kyle Trask like turning into a good starter. That's why I have them going 2-15.
Wow, 2-15. That is your lowest win total so far in your predictions, isn't it? 2-15.
Yeah, I would say yes. Yeah, it's the lowest.
Wow.
Are they going for the Caleb Williams sweepstakes? You think they'll just say bye-bye?
I have to go back because we already did the West. Cardinals have to be close to that, but at least the one thing I'll give the Cardinals is we kind of talked about it. Cardinals are really trying to be bad. Like they purposely designed their team to be bad. I don't think the Bucks are, and like still, I look at this team. I was like, I don't know. There's a lot of warning signs that this team is gonna go belly up very quick.
Well, my thoughts are this. This whole division is going to be a fight for the basement, man, going the wrong direction. And I'm not going to put your Bucks and do the pile-on. I like Baker. I like those commercials in the stadium with his wife. Those were great, man. He should have won an Emmy for those babies. So I think he's going to do well. But I got the New Orleans Saints in your last position in the NFC South, and here's why. Derek Carr, I don't know. I think we all got kind of excited about him for about 5 minutes a couple years ago, and I think that excitement is worn off. I don't think, change of scenery. You hear all the, the catchphrases. So what? Kamara's got his own challenges. Alvin Kamara, I don't know. I just don't feel good about the Saints. Never have. I think that I just don't feel like they're the team. I think, like I said, this division will be like one win like it was last year from first to worst, or maybe two, or maybe a few more than that, maybe three from first to last. So I've got the Saints going 6-11 and finishing last. There you have it. Just to shake it up a little bit. Shake it up.
Wow. I like it. J-Boy brings the heat.
Because you know that there's going to win. Somebody's going to stumble and they'll beat the Buccaneers twice, and some things like that'll happen, and they'll be lucky. But 6-11. Okay, third place, Lugs in the AFC South.
I have the old Panthers there. Young quarterback Bryce Young. He's apparently having himself a good camp, and he's got some folks. He's got DJ Clark and Adam Thielen to throw to, and he's also got Miles Sanders at running back. And the offensive line is pretty good, and they've got Frank Reich, who I have a lot of respect for. But I don't know that they can bring all of that together that quickly. I think he being young is a smart young player, but I'm saying they will go 7-10
for the Panthers.
They matched the record.
All right,
they matched the record from last year.
Yeah, T-Dog, how do you like that move? What do you have going for number 3 in the South?
I also have the Panthers taking the bronze. Last year we predicted that Matt Rule would be out of the job by week 8. He did not even last that long. He went 1-4, and they said, "See you later."
Yeah,
enter Frank Reich.
That might have been one of our better predictions, but that was pretty close.
I think that was one of our better predictions.
Maybe the only one. I don't know.
We had a few more, but that's probably you're probably right. That should be
blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while, right? Yep.
Yeah, that should be put on the mantle, on the fireplace.
Yep, got it over here. Yep, I'll fire it up in a little bit.
But I just think, kind of like what Lug said, Frank Reich. I mean, I believe in him as a coach. I put a lot of what happened. I'm not giving him a complete get out of jail free card for what happened with Colts last year. But some of that is, I mean, we'll talk about it maybe down the road because I feel he'll do something else. I think Irsay's gone off the rails. These last 2 years. But anyway,
with his whale search and everything. Yeah.
I don't know if he changed his medication or not. But he was really stable for a really long time. But anyway, I just want to give him props. Also just how he went about assembling this coaching staff. Ejiro Evero, what he did with the Denver Broncos last year as a coordinator was excellent. I mean, as bad as that team was, it was not because of their defense. Their defense actually kept them in a lot of games that just the offense couldn't pull ahead in those games. So, and then Chris Tabor is actually a well-respected special teams coach for a unit that was already good last year at of kicking and returning. And, some of their seniors assistants are Jim Caldwell and Dom Capers. So, I mean, you get decades of experience with those two, and big parts of their roster I like. I mean, big parts of their defensive line, their linebackers particularly I think is their strength. Brian Burns has really emerged as one of the young, better pass rushers in the league. Linebacker Frankie Louvu, he took a huge leap in his 5th season. He had 111 tackles, 7 sacks, and 19 tackles for loss. And Shaq Thompson, the eternal one, had over 100 tackles in each of the past 4 years. I look at their weakness, though, still on the defense. So that back 4 or back 5, however you want to say it, their top 2 corners, J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson, are talented, but they have real durability issues. And then their third corner, C.J. Henderson, his play is up and down. They drafted early a few years ago Jeremy Chin, who, again, is talented, but he's kind of a tweener. He's kind of usually used as another linebacker for the most part. The one guy I will give as a bright spot, they got the free agent Von Bell from the Bengals. He has consistency, and he'll add leadership to that element of the group. But, and kind of going to Bryce Young, I think he has the ability to be good early on. And like Lug said, a lot of the camp reports have been glowing about him. But I think the thing that will really let him down is if you look at their skill position talent. DJ Chark has the talent to be good, but he has, for the most part, never stayed healthy. I know they got free agent Hayden Hurst from the Bengals, but if you look at it, guys, like he's averaged less than 9 yards per reception the last 2 years. I mean, that's not what I think is a great acquisition at that spot. And Miles Sanders, I mean, the Eagles, I know they like to use a rotation of backs, but it felt like for a lot of years they did not trust him, which I don't think is a good sign. So I have them going 5-12.
5-12. Well, it's better than I thought. You were kind of painting a bleak picture there for a minute. Wow. Holy crap. All right. Well, I'm going to jump on the Baker Mayfield wagon here, and I'm going to put the Buccaneers at third place in the NFC South. I like Baker. I think he's got a shot to prove himself a little bit, maybe rejuvenate the career. I know there's a lot of holes in that, but they still got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and some other key players who can help him out. So I'm going to go with the Bucs in the third slot. And again, I think this division will be like 2-3 wins top to bottom from who's first, who's last. And I've got them going 8-9, just above the Saints, who I picked at 6-11. So there you go. I got the Bucs in the bronze position. Lugs, let's move over to your second place choice in the AFC South.
I have the Atlanta Falcons. I don't understand their strategy in the way they picked in the draft. I mean, I get Bijan Robinson is the premier running back out of that class, but they needed offensive line. Desmond Ridder, I think he's a game young man, but he needs time. He's not a guy that can do you a 1.4 second read of everything and put the ball in the right place. He needs time. So I thought that they should have gone for a left tackle. But and also they had Tyler Allgeier, who was, held a record for rookie in running. It just seemed, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But they have some hope on offense. I don't think they have a lot of hope on defense. They're going to have to score some points to get some wins. They just are. Still, I think they're good enough. I'm thinking their record will be 8-9.
8-9 okay. For the Falcons in second place. T-Dog, where you got two teams left. Flip the coin. Do what you do, man. Do your thing. Who's it going to be?
Well, coming in as the first loser, I guess some people would view it that way. Not the second loser or the third loser, the first loser. I have the New Orleans Saints in second place. I obviously I'm higher on Derek Carr than J-Boy. Yeah. I believe he is an upgrade over the Andy Dalton. And actually, Andy Dalton played well, so I don't want to hate on him. But I think Andy Dalton played well for them. But I just think Derek Carr at this point still has a little more juice in his arm and mobility. I think he can do some things that maybe Andy Dalton later stage Andy Dalton cannot. The offense, I think, is going to be really balanced with it. I mean, you look at the running back tandem of Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams, and they have two quality tight ends in Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau that are just going to help in the red zone and moving the chains. I do worry about the defense overall. It's just older in a lot of key areas. I mean, Cameron Jordan, as we've talked about a lot of times, is like he is a great player, but I believe he's going to probably be 35 this year. I don't like I said, he will probably get in the Hall of Fame, but like it's probably getting closer to him getting a golden jacket than, anyway. But I think with that age, they have experience, so it'll keep that side from getting disorganized. I just don't know if they'll be as good a unit as they were last year. But still, I will say their strength of this team is their secondary. Marshawn Lattimore was injured for most of last year, but I still think he's one of the top quality corners when he's healthy. Then you have Paulson Adebo, Alontae Taylor are two young corners that feel like they have the makings of being good starters. And then on the back end, you have Marcus May and Tyrann Mathieu that are just smart and good at protecting the deep field and using some instincts to create ball hawking plays, particularly Tyrann Mathieu's. The one thing that makes me, I guess, holds them back from winning the division to me is their receivers. Outside of Chris Olave, who proved he was a playmaker his rookie year, and he led the team in receiving. But after him, you just look at it, it's a lot of role players, green guys, and I hate to say it, guys that are just washed. I mean, I can't trust Michael Thomas at this point. He's been hurt. He hasn't been can't guard Mike since 2019. Rashid Shaheed is a talented deep threat guy, but he still needs to expand his skills. And their fourth receiver, Troyquan Smith, I mean, he's a big asset in run blocking, but it felt at times they thought he was going to become like a clone of Michael Thomas, the good Michael Thomas, and that never happened. But I do have them going 9-8, and I do have them making the wild card.
9-8 for your New Orleans Saints. Okay, I have one question about Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, right?
Yep.
Does he lose that name with all this conference realignment stuff? No.
I have to consult my National Geographic expert.
I think they'd take that away from him. You know, more Honey Badger. You know.
Oh man.
I think
now I'm feeling a little down.
Think that through a little bit. They don't talk about it much, but that's maybe nicknames go with this realignment too.
Someone else get it before you name your number 2? Does someone else get it?
I mean, it's like the what's the takeaway chain? The stuff like that. Where's that going? Where's that going?
Oh, I kind of like this. We're gonna have to make this and other stuff. Down the line, like if there should be a passing of the torch on like certain nicknames.
Yep. Okay. So thank you for that. 9-8 on your Saints. Here's who I got in second place. I got your Frank Wright Carolina Panthers. And here's why. I believe Bryce Young will be the breakout quarterback of all the rooks. It's my prediction. I know we've talked about he's a mini man, got small hands, he's 5'8", whatever, weighs $1.25. I think the kid's slick, he's sharp, he's smart, and I think he'll do great. I like some of the people around him. I think picking up Adam Thielen, good team player, he'll help that kid. He'll catch some passes for the guy. I think it's a good change of pace for him. I think some of the other pieces and parts they have are good. I like the good old Panthers. And I got them going 8-9 again. That's a tie with the Buccaneers for me, but that could fluctuate either way. But I got them going 8-9 and taking that silver, second place in the AFC South. Okay, so now, Lugs, who's your champion in this division? I think I know, but you need to tell the public and get it off your chest. Who is it?
It's New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
I'm big on Derek Carr. I think he's a top 20 quarterback.
Dude, there's only 32 teams in the league. What? Wait, whoa. Wait a minute. That's not... Yeah. Good vote of confidence. Way to go, number 20.
That's a backhand compliment.
We're number 20. We're number 20. Okay, take it away.
But he has some Chris Olave. He's got a good receiver. I think Jimmy Graham is back in uniform there.
Seriously, I missed that little tidbit.
And he's got Taysom Hill.
He's got Taysom Hill. Yeah, that's true.
So he's got some people around him that can pull off those wacky plays. And Carr had to manage some crazy stuff there in the Raiders in that year. So I think Carr is a very grounded person, and I see this year as he can finally just say, I'm going for it, and I see him doing real well. The defense, there are lots of issues, but I've got the Saints going 10-7. 10-7.
Dang, dude, 10-7 for your New Orleans Saints. Jimmy Graham is 36 years old. Wow, how are those knees looking? All right, T-Dog, where are you going on this thing, man? I think I know, but again, get it off your chest. Let's go.
I have the Atlanta Falcons, and the main reason I will say this is I had them going 1-16 last year. They finished 7-10, and now I'm having them predicting them going from one of the worst teams to team winning their division. So feel great about that.
Yep.
The one thing I will give Lugs is he accurately predicted that Desmond Ridder would start multiple games last year, which he did. He started 4.
Yeah.
He played fine in those four starts. His completion percentage was solid. He only had one lost fumble. He only gave up 2.25 sacks a game, and he uses legs to gain yards and a few first downs. He needs to show that he can be a playmaker to improve this team's ceiling. I do think he is currently the team's weakness, but I think he can get better, and I think he's in a perfect spot to allow him to just be a game manager, at least for most this year. Maybe I think he has some athletic talents where he can grow and become a good starter. I don't know if he'll ever be a top 20 starter like Derek Carr.
Top 20.
I just think this is going to be a fun team to watch with Arthur Smith's offense. I think there's a lot of similarities between, maybe not schematically, but just similar to the 49ers in that most of the skill position players are unique enough they can play other positions. Kyle Pitts is a tight end who can play wide receiver, and then Bijan Robinson is noted for being a good slot receiver, the rookie running back. And obviously Cordell Patterson, I don't even know what his position is. He's been a starter at wide receiver, running back,
punt returner, right? Yeah.
So they have all these guys that can move around.
And this is his 19th NFL team, I think. Isn't it? Cordell Patterson is like, God bless America. Yeah.
They brought in Jonnu Smith, who's first when he started to ripple up was with the Titans with Arthur Smith. He played fullback, but mainly he's a tight end, but he's just a very gifted athlete. Again, just a guy that can just move around. And on defense, I just like the additions of Calais Campbell. Speaking of a guy who's just hung around the league and been on multiple teams, but still plays at a high level.
Yep.
And then David Omadi, you add those guys to their D-line. One of the big weaknesses was their rush defense. I think that gets shored up. And I think they give some pass rush juice. Speaking of pass rush juice, they added free agent Bud Dupree, who I think was still coming back from his injury last year with the Titans, didn't really play a whole lot. But I think, another year off, maybe he's back to being the guy that he was with Pittsburgh. And I just think the strength of this team is actually their offensive line. Jake Matthews has just been a rock-solid starter on the, for 9 seasons. He's maybe not been – a world beater, like Pro Bowl level guy, but he's a solid hand. But particularly that right side, Lindstrom at guard and McCrary are 2 big reasons why the Falcons, they had over 2,718 yards rushing last season. And then Drew Dahlman, he just has the quickness to get to the second level, which is just a big component of why they're one of the better running teams in the league. And because of that, I have them going 10-7 and winning the division.
You rock with the Falcons. Okay, 10-7 on the Falcons. I'm in the camp with you there, T-Dog. I've got them too. I like the Falcons. Lugs, I think Desmond Ridder is a top 30 quarterback.
All right.
I believe in the guy. He replaced Marcus Mariota. If you've seen that quarterback show on Netflix, they profile that whole thing and Mariota losing the starter job. T-Dog, you hit on it. O-line, wonderful, awesome, big plus. Bijan Robinson in this year of the weirdness with running backs, he could be the guy to come out of nowhere. Like that a lot. I like Frank Reich, even though he's not the coach of this team.
I was going to say.
I got my notes
Arthur
mixed
Smith.
up here. Yeah. Arthur Smith.
I like Frank Reich, too.
You, sir, are no Frank Reich. Anyway, Arthur Smith is who I meant. That's what I meant, of course. And I think they're going to be solid. So I'm a big Ridder fan. This will be his year to do something. He's getting a great shot. Cincinnati kid, local product here from St. X High School. I got him going and winning the division, but not as prolific as T-Dog. 9-8 for me, so it's a top to bottom, a tight division like it was last year. So that's that. Good job, boys.
Yeah. And it kind of like Lugs hit it off too. Like another guy, like even if Bijan, but God forbid he gets injured. I mean, Tyler Algier, their running back from last year. I mean, he averaged 5 yards a carry. He had the rookie rushing record. And again, he's a big enough guy. He could essentially play fullback. I mean, that's the thing is like they have all these guys that are just essentially Swiss Army knives. So that's what makes them fun.
New versions of Taysom Hill, then. It's kind of what you're.
Yeah, Taysom Hill needs to be traded to the Atlanta Falcons. Actually, you nailed it, J-Boy. That's where he needs to go.
All right, so we've covered that nicely. We've done some college football talk. We're going to talk about America's favorite pastime, ice cream, in a few minutes. But first, Lugs, are you teed up with some sports of yesteryear?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here it comes, baby. Let's go. All right, sports of yesteryear. He's out and about. He's doing it, what he does. His name is Lugs. He wants to talk about old guys in the sports, and here he comes.
All right,
yeah.
1936, Jesse Owens is part of the American 4x100 meter relay team that wins gold in world record time 39.8 at the Berlin Olympics. Take that, Adolf Hitler. Owens takes home his fourth gold medal of the games. 1946, it's the first time all Major League Baseball games were played at night. 8 total games total. 1971, Satchel Paige is inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Satchel was prolific in the old Negro leagues and in Major League Baseball. Got to see him one time briefly when I was just a baby boy
Wow.
at Atlanta. He did pitch for Atlanta for a little bit to get his retirement up. Anyway, 1988, Cubs beat Mets 6-4 in their first official night game at Wrigley Field, 1988. And 2012, Jamaica sprint superstar Usain Bolt wins 200 meter at the London Olympics in 19.32 seconds to become the first man to win 100 meter, 200 meter double in back-to-back Olympics. You go, Usain. That completes this edition of Sports of Yesteryear.
Thank you, Lugs. Okay, man, so really, you saw Satchel Paige? You saw him?
Yeah, because they brought him back.
How old do you figure he was? 50? 48? Something like that, probably?
Oh, no, he was closer to 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he only had to pitch, in one inning. But I would have been 5 or 6 at that point.
Wow. That's a moment, though. That's a moment right there.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't until years later I realized what I had witnessed. I remember him just being just like a spear. He was just tall and very thin. That's about all I remember. I mean, the guy that I paid attention to was Chief Nakahoma.
Yes, sir.
I kept waiting for him to come out of that teepee.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
we can't talk about that too much anymore, but yeah, that was the guy. Whoever played that character. He
was an actual Cherokee. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah. You still got Bernie Brewer up in Milwaukee. He comes out of that, slides into that mug of beer, Suds up there. But Nakahoma's been gone for a while, I think.
Oh, yeah, since, late 70s, early 80s, probably.
Yeah, when Ted Turner was a boy. Okay, so talking about Suds, we wanted to talk about something completely different. Favorite ice cream. Favorite ice cream flavors. T-Dog, your thought was to kick this off. Where do you want to start with this?
I'm just saying, since we're in August, usually around at least here, August is the hottest month. Would you all agree? Usually in this area,
100%.
Yeah, State Fair.
Yep.
Yeah, State Fair.
Yep.
So I would say, you want something cool to kind of cool you off, and I think you usually want to go to an ice cream parlor or an ice cream shop or drive through ice cream place, some place that serves ice cream. You could go to Kroger and pick up just a big vat. It doesn't matter. You need something to satisfy the heat to get it to go away. And I just gotta say, my favorite flavor is Rocky Road. I think that's my favorite.
That's your go-to. That's your go-to flavor right there.
It's not easy to find, but if a place sells it, that's the one I'm gonna go to. That's the one I'm gonna pull the trigger on. I like the combination of chocolate, marshmallows. Usually it has a few nuts in it. Sometimes it has chocolate chunks in it as well. It's just a kind of refreshing, and just I like the textures of it. I think too that adds to it. So yeah, I gotta go with my number one. It's a Rocky Road.
A particular brand, or doesn't it matter?
Doesn't matter. Anyone has it, I'm gonna try it. That's the one I've gravitated towards when I was a kid, and I've stayed lockstep. There's a lot of things I've gravitated away from as I've gotten older, but that's one that I've stayed true to.
Yeah, so. This is not that kind of show to talk about your things you've gotten away from. Well,
yeah,
that's a private conversation. Lugs, okay, so T-Dog loves your Kroger brand private selection Rocky Road. What do you like, man?
Basically, I'm just a straight up kind of a guy.
I've heard that before, but I don't believe it. Straight up.
If I'm going to get wild on the ice cream, I like peach. I like peach ice cream with crunched up peanuts.
Oh, okay.
And I like it on the plainest cone you can give me. I don't like all that, sugar dipped waffle, all that. No. Just give me a plain old cone and a good big scoop, and I'm there for you.
I think they call that cake cone. Just the standard cone. You talk about the one that's kind of whitish yellow. That one, just a plain old. cone.
Yeah. Just very
crispy though, nice and fresh.
Yeah. I like those.
Peach with crunchy peanuts on it.
Yeah. And
if
particular,
you can get
yourself one of those small Cokes, the ones that are just super CO2 saturated. Oh man, it'll blow the top of your head off.
Wait, peach ice cream, peanuts, and you're drinking a Coke all at the same time?
Oh yeah, man, you got to go for the full meal deal.
Regular Coke, Diet Coke, Coke Zero.
No, it's the regular old style Coke, but in the small tiny bottles that are just super saturated with CO2. Where
are you getting one of those bottles, man? Down at Floyd the Barber's? Come on, the little glass bottle. What are you talking about?
You can still get them. And you can get the full sugar ones. They're out of Mexico.
The Mexican Coke. Yeah, Mexican Coke. Yeah.
Down at the filling station, Ange. Oh, come on. Really? That's good, man. That's good.
All
right. Well, I'm going to go with your, I got to go to a certain place and do a certain thing. So mine would be a cookie dough. They come in a million names, right? Vortex, Flurry, whatever the heck, Blizzard. But cookie dough, vanilla, and I'm going to a little joint here in town called Dairy Castle. Been around 40 years.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's just, it's not very large. It's the right size. It's got the little soft cookie dough with the white vanilla color, whatever, ice cream. And then if you want to get real adventurous and kind of take a page out of Lugs, get a Diet Pepsi and a taco in a bag. Okay, that's a Frito bag that they put chili meat and sour cream on and some salsa. Salsa. Yeah, no, it's salsa. That's a taco. That's it. That's a full deal meal. I mean, that's like the only thing missing is a Happy Meal toy, but you get everything else you need: calories and nutrition. Dairy.
Does that come with a bib?
No, but they have those little weenie napkins. You know the kind that come out of the metal thing that's only about this wide, and they just kind of tear off one at a time, and they're like paper thin. That's the only napkins they have. So you need a lot of those, but that would be it for me. And it's just a suggestion. If they're a friend of the show, I'm certain. Get some longer damn spoons for that taco in a bag. You're sitting there struggling with the traditional, the short.
Turn it up and, let it flow.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, not too bad.
Well, I mean, since we're,
waxing.
talking favorite places, my absolute favorite, and I've been there a couple of times this year, is Zesto.
Yeah.
And to get I just keep it simple. The vanilla malt, I get a large one. It's about the size of a 14-gallon bucket. And man, that one will get you through several holidays.
14-gallon bucket vanilla malt only at Zesto. It's on sale tonight.
Just a cosign with Lugs.
Yeah.
I also go to Zesto's primarily in chillers. I go to an ice cream standalone shop, and I also get usually it's a rotation on the malts, but it's usually chocolate, peanut butter, banana, and then butterscotch. Those are my top.
Okay,
4.
so we're back to these, things you wanted to talk about, but we're not going to talk about. Is that an issue with you? It's got to be in a specific order: chocolate, banana. You got to do this rotation and do the circuit. It's like hitting for the circuit. No, it doesn't matter.
No. It
God.
depends on when I get up there, what I feel like that day. If I had peanut butter, I don't know why I had a big offering of peanut butter that day. I'll probably not go peanut butter. I don't know. I gravitate. Usually, the higher ones are chocolate and banana. I'm a big fan of banana in particular. But when I'm feeling frisky, it's butterscotch. It's gonna be butterscotch.
So it's just a rotation, whatever mood you're in.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not a rigid. I have to go in this order and then repeat. It's just what am I feeling? Because it sounds like Lugs feel the same way. I don't eat there enough because I like it. It's a little pricey for me to go on a roundabout time. So it's like when I go for sushi. Like I like sushi, but I'm probably at most going to eat sushi 4 times a year. It's not that I don't like it. It's just it's a little. That's a little too much to be paying for food on the reg.
If Lugs is getting that 14-gallon, ice cream, that's really damn expensive.
Hey, when you buy in volume, you get a break.
Time and money, we can save you both. It's interesting. Ice cream has been around since, they invented it, I guess, and it's really good.
Well, let me just, since we're throwing out names, I, at least twice a year, go to the Polly's Freeze, Edwardsville in Georgetown, Indiana. I'm going to do a shout out for you. I have
might get a coupon out of the deal. Hope we're hanging in there for you. Go ahead.
I have the chicken sandwich with the fries, big old crinkle fries.
Yeah, better surface for more sauce. We've talked about that, right?
And then I do an iced tea, but I top it off with a big old soft serve cone, and they're raspberry. So that's my full meal. And if I was feeling wild, I'd go on down to the Georgetown Drive-In and catch the original Spider-Man.
I thought you were going to say the Terminator. I'll be back. Well, you covered it all, so let's give a shout out to some friends of the show right there. No kidding, the Georgetown Drive-In. Okay, T-Dog, yeah.
I was just waiting for another sponsors that Lugs is trying to get in here.
Working it. You want to
shout out Berry Twist or Golden Twist?
Well, now.
I guess not. That's a no.
I guess not. Okay, all right.
I have my favorites. And I'm under contract. My NIL kicks in, and I can't bring up competing entities.
You can't use certain names under contract. But we got to give a shout out to Jim, Derek, and Trevor, our pals over there at Zesto and Chillers. They're friends of the show for real. And we might get a $1 off that 14 gallons maybe.
And those boys make a real fine sandwich. They do. So.
Oh yes, yeah. The pork sandwich is excellent there. So.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think we've covered all the food groups and all the heart attack makers that we can get in.
Yep. Widow makers and diabetic producers, I think, as well. Yep, we're good. Okay, anything else tonight, or we're going to wrap this baby up?
Wrap it.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it. This has been Sports and Other Stuff, brought to you by Rose Auto Sales on Highway 51 North. If your sticker's not on the back of your car, I should say, you've paid too much. Our guy is there tonight. We know him. His name is
Fish. And this week, to mark the birth of singer Whitney Houston, Fish has put together a tribute to the Beyonce of the 80s and 90s. This Saturday at 1 p.m., Fish will celebrate the life of this talented diva with author of Good Girl, Bad Girl, Kevin Ammons, talking about Whitney's rise to success and untimely death. That's this Saturday at 1 p.m. The celebrations will culminate with a showing of Whitney's star vehicle, The Bodyguard, which gave us the #1 hit for 14 weeks, I Will Always Love You, which was written by Dolly Parton.
Yes, sir. Is that it?
That would be it.
All right, I missed the LQ deal. All right, as Casey Kasem would say, keep your feet on the ground, but keep reaching for the stars. We'll be back with another edition, if we're lucky, next week. So long for now. Bye-bye.